Hi YouTube, I'm Kelly One Shot, and today we're going to talk about permanent hair removal, both laser and electrolysis. Okay, so we're actually going to start this off by talking about laser hair removal, which has been FDA considered to be permanent hair reduction and not permanent hair stoppage, because basically the way that the process works is there's several hundreds of little hair follicles all in different stages of growth across the entirety of your face, and the way that the laser process works is they put this gel across your face or wherever you're getting your laser hair removal done, and it's basically the same gel that they apply to women to do ultrasounds on them, which is pretty neat. But basically this gel just works to allow the laser to just kind of slide and glide across your face more evenly and more smoothly. So basically the laser is just this little device that kind of shoots concentrated heat beams down into each individual hair follicle, and it actually doesn't just hit one at a time, it hits several at a time. And the reason that it's permanent hair reduction is because there's so many different stages of growth on each individual hair follicle. This one could be on 28 days, this one could be on 38 days. So there are different stages. So if you've ever actually plucked or removed hair, then you know that sometimes the hairs actually have this like thick bulb or head at the end of the hair, and sometimes when you pluck them, it's just these tiny little hairs and they just pull right out. So basically, laser hair removal works best when you actually have the full head, the full bulb is there, because when the concentrated heat beam goes down into the individual follicle, it actually burns everything down there and it has more to burn, and so it actually cauterizes the blood follicle down there that actually supplies the hair with blood and nutrition, and it allows it to grow and triggers the hair growth and does what it's supposed to do. So basically you're just kind of scorching shut the blood capillary, which stops that individual cell, that follicle, from growing. So you have to do this several times over because each hair is at a different state. So basically you just kind of go on. Every 6 weeks you can keep going back for more treatment, and it can take anywhere from 8 to 10 or more sessions. I did just have my first session last week, and my skin and my body actually responded pretty good to it because I do have darker facial hair, so it was allowed to just latch on and burn those follicles more, because if you do have lighter hair, it is going to be harder to do laser, and electrolysis is probably going to be the route for you to take, as well as skin pigmentation also has a big factor in all of this too, because the darker the skin pigmentation, the more that the laser has to penetrate through that dark pigmentation. So if you do have your darker, more African American skin tones, then probably electrolysis is going to be what's suggested for you and what's recommended, and it's probably going to save you more money in the long run, because electrolysis is also permanent hair stoppage and not just permanent hair reduction, which is amazing, and we'll get into that in just a second. So basically, like I said, that's just pretty much laser. It's all about going down and burning the hair follicle when it's at its bulbous state. When you burn the hairs when they're not at the bulbous state, the hair does die. It does get pushed out eventually over the next few days. She said anywhere from a week to 10 days, and all the hairs will just kind of slowly start pushing their way out after you've burned them and use your laser beam on all of them. So when they're not at the bulbous state, they just kind of push out and they do their thing, and then you go back in the next session, and in a different hair cycle every 6 weeks you go, and eventually you just kind of get as many of them as you can, and then eventually you're probably going to need to finish it up and just clean it up with some electrolysis. So basically now we're going to talk about electrolysis a little bit here. So with electrolysis, that is permanent hair stoppage, because you actually do each individual follicle. You take this tiny little needle and you go down into the follicle, and then they use electricity to do the same thing, to shock each individual capillary and cauterize it, so that way the capillary doesn't fuel the hair and doesn't trigger the regrowth like your body tells it to do. So electrolysis is pretty more straightforward, pretty more simple. I do hear that it's a lot more painful and it is a little bit more expensive, but it's much more efficient, and it is considered FDA standard to be permanent hair stoppage. So basically, the woman who did my hair removal, we did the first round about a week ago of laser. She said that my skin and my hair actually responded really well to it. So we're probably going to do maybe 7 more appointments, with the last 2 probably being electrolysis, just to go in and kind of clean it all up and finish it all off. Now I will say that once you do the laser, you're going to have redness wherever you got it done. So I actually had pretty much my beard outline, or my former beard outline, tiny little dots and little bumps and just redness and agitation. And that agitation should dissipate in anywhere from a few hours up to like 4 or 5 hours at most, and it should dissipate, but you will kind of notice like these small little bumps that will eventually go away. Mine have already gone away within a week, which is pretty amazing. But you will have, within those first 10 days after getting your appointment, you will have, and you'll notice wherever you get it done, you'll have a little prickliness. And that's not to worry you, that's actually the hairs that you've already killed off, and they're just kind of pushing their way slowly out through your body, and they're dying, and what gets re-triggered, and what you fully cauterize, that hair's done. That hair is, you can move on to other hairs. So you can actually do a lot of things several days after. The next day I was allowed to wear makeup. I was kind of really surprised about that. I was really worried whether I would be able to use and wear makeup within the next few days afterwards. I also wasn't sure if I had to grow my facial hair out, or any hair that you are getting removed, beforehand. But my appointment was actually moved forward a few weeks because there was cancellations. It's winter time, you know, whatever. So I wasn't prepared to fully grow it out, which is what I thought that you needed to do. But apparently you don't. As long as there's enough of the hair to for the laser to go down into the follicle, and as long as enough of them are in their bulbous state, you should be pretty fine. So for the most part, you should be pretty fine, and then you just kind of go back every 6 weeks, and you just do multiple treatments, as many as it takes. Everybody is a unique little snowflake. We're all unique little individuals with different skin types, hair types, and pigmentation. So like I said, the darker the pigmentation, the harder it's going to be to do laser. The lighter the hair follicles themselves, the harder it is to do laser. So in those circumstances, I would probably recommend electrolysis, but again, I am not a professional whatsoever in any way. But laser is permanent hair reduction, and electrolysis, like I said, is a tiny little needle that you inject into each little follicle, and then through the little shock that they give you, it's all about cauterizing the capillaries, which I really didn't know much about until I had my appointment with this with the woman who did my laser removal. But I thought it was pretty neat, and I thought that would kind of share some of this stuff with you guys. It is not recommended to use different hair removal products before or after your hair removal. So like you can shave. I was able to shave the next day. I was able to shave the day before, but now I'm actually at a period where I was shaving every single morning. Okay, I'm a trans woman. If you come to my channel, you already know I'm a trans woman. Hi, Taylor is my name. Hi, hey, how are you? How's it going? So yeah, basically I used to have to shave every morning. But after a week later, and after all the bumping and agitation kind of dissipated, I'm now noticing that I can get through an entire day or more without having to go back through and shave. Which, as a trans woman, that is extremely beneficial. It's extremely helpful. It makes me feel so much more confident and so much happier that I don't always have to worry about going through long days and wondering whether I'm going to get 5 o'clock shadow or stuff like popping out or breaking its way through. Because really, that just kind of brings me down, and it made me really feel self-conscious and sad about myself. And this isn't just something that's exclusive to trans women or even women at all. There's plenty of men who want to get laser hair removal in any part of the body. You can get it done anywhere. Basically, the face and the lower region are the more spots that people could typically do. People do their legs a lot. As a trans woman, I'm worried about my face, and eventually I will have to get electrolysis done on down there before I do surgeries and all that fun stuff, because that's a whole nother world. But basically, if you get SRS, sexual reassignment surgery, from male to female, you can't have hairs on the inside of your body, and I'm not even going to start discussing that process, but you do have to get electrolysis done down there. So it's something you're going to want to think about and look into if you are in need of that procedure. Like I said, this is essentially for anybody. There's plenty of women who get little mustaches, who get little hair for different reasons, high testosterone rates, or different ethnicities. Like, I know Italian women, we're not going to go into it. If you have hair girl, you have hair girl, and if you want to get rid of it, I recommend laser. Like I said, just a few quick sessions. I can't really give you a price quota, and I can't really say what I paid because my situation is unique as an individual, and the woman that I went to was very helpful and very good towards the trans community. She's one of the best people within my local area, and I loved her so much, and it was such a great time and such a great session, and I'm so much happier after doing it. I just wanted to kind of basically do this video to tell you guys some of the things to expect from laser hair removal, some of the pros and cons, talk about laser, talk about electrolysis. Ultimately, electrolysis is permanent hair removal because of the individual follicles, whereas laser is permanent hair reduction because you can't guarantee that you're going to hit every hair each time you go in, so you go back multiple times every 6 weeks, so your hairs can be in different growth states when you do each individual session. Either way, I just wanted to do this quick little video. If you're here for my comic book channel, I'm sorry, this probably isn't for you, but it might be. But there's plenty of people that this video will help out, and I'm glad that I made it, and I hope that you enjoy it as well. And if you like this video, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. Join the Kelly One Shot YouTube channel. Either way, I'm your host, Kelly One Shot. You take care, have a great day, and goodbye!